Ready, go.
Okay, we're just going to start off with praying. So close your eyes. Jesus, thank you for today, and thank you for this message. I pray that you would speak through me, and that you would really speak to the hearts of everybody here. And thank you for your presence that's here in each and every one of us. So I heard the music from the orphanage doors, and I could not tell what was happening, but something was happening outside. This was this past summer while I was in India, and I really wanted to know. I was like, something is happening, and I need to go here. And so I asked my friend Lydia, I said, grab your camera, and we ran out the doors, and we ran down the cobblestone road down in Visakhapatnam, and we stopped at this tent, and this party was happening, and it was the strangest thing. This party was happening down the road, and there was this billboard, and on this billboard was this picture of this girl. She was probably like 11, 12, 13, and I was thinking, like, what is this? But by staying a little bit and seeing all the people that came to the party and everybody that left for the party, I came to the conclusion that this young girl had just become a woman, or in other words, she had just had her first period. Now, some of you have gotten a little bit uncomfortable, probably. I'm a little uncomfortable because, yes, I just said the word period. And we're talking now about periods. But eventually, all of you men will hopefully have a wife, or maybe you have a wife, or maybe you have a girlfriend, and she has a period. I'm sorry, but she does. So, let me tell you a little bit about periods. Periods are terrible. They come once a month, and you feel terrible. I almost always feel like throwing up, no matter what. And I cannot make decisions on my own. I cannot cook my own food. I feel like the world is crumbling beneath me, and a bowling ball is trying to leave my body. It is terrible. But now that is gross and out there, and you feel gross, because I just told you that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about a story. Because I'm 21, and I started my periods when I was 11, so that means I've been having periods for 10 whole years. That's a long time to be in that kind of pain every month. But the fact is that I know of this woman who had a period ongoing for 12 years. Like, it never, ever stopped. Like, there wasn't even in-between time where she wasn't on it. Like, how terrible is that, to feel the way that I do when that is happening for 12 straight years? Like, this just blows my mind. And I'm going to go pick up my Bible, because I need it right now. Because this story is actually in the Bible, and it's in Mark chapter 5. So we're going to read a little bit about this woman and what's happening to her and why she needs to get healed. So in Mark chapter 5, verse 25, we're reading, and it says, a woman who had a hemorrhage for 12 years and had endured much at the hands of many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was not helped at all, but rather had grown worse. So there was this woman, and she had a hemorrhage, and she kept bleeding, and she couldn't stop bleeding for 12 whole years. And after hearing about Jesus, she came up in the crowd behind him and touched his cloak. For she thought, if I just touched his garments, I will get well. Immediately the flow of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of her affliction. Immediately she got healed. That just blows my mind. And immediately Jesus, perceiving in him that the power proceeding from him had gone forth, turned around in the crowd and said, who touched my garments? And his disciples said to him, you see the crowd pressing in on you, and you say, who touched me? And he looked around to see the woman who had done this. But the woman, fearing and trembling, aware of what had happened to her, came and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction. I think this is the coolest story ever. This is one of my favorite stories in the whole Bible, because this woman in this city gets up and she knows that something is happening. Because what happens right before this story is the synagogue leader has gone up to Jesus and said, Jesus, my daughter is dying. You have to go help her. You have to go find her, and you have to pray for her, and she has to get healed. And so Jesus is like, okay, let's go heal your daughter. So he's walking, and as he's walking, this large crowd of people start following Jesus, and this woman comes up from the crowd and touches him, and she gets healed. And when that happens, I just think that that's so cool. And then, of course, Jesus goes on and he raises a girl from the dead because he's Jesus and he likes to do that sort of thing. So Jesus is pretty rad. So I was reading this story and I really didn't want to preach on it because every time I read the story, all I can think of is periods, and it's so awkward. But I really felt like Holy Spirit really wanted me to preach on this. And so I went back and I read the passage and I said, okay, God, what is it about this passage that you really want me to look at? And I came to the verse where it says, let me see. But the woman, fearing and trembling, aware of what had happened to her, came and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. And I was like, she just got healed. Why is she fearing? Why is she trembling? Why is she so afraid of Jesus right now? I don't get it. If you just got healed by Jesus, you would want to hug him or something. Like, I would want to run up to Jesus and just be so excited. But she's scared. And so I was thinking about it, and then I realized something. This woman has been on her period for 12 whole years. And in ancient Israelite time, when a woman is on her period, she's not allowed to touch anything. She's not allowed to touch anyone. She is designated as unclean. She's not allowed to leave the house sometimes. I was reading up on laws. It says if a man touched this woman, then that meant that he was unclean till morning. And if a man slept with that woman, he would probably be dead. Like, they would seriously kill him. And I'm thinking about this story, and this woman who is not supposed to be out and not supposed to be touching people runs up and touches Jesus, and suddenly she gets made well. And this is like the hero of the story being touched by somebody totally unclean. By all traditions, all laws, like, this woman is supposed to be unclean, and she touches Jesus. And of course, when Jesus is turning around and he feels power coming out of him, he's like, okay, somebody touched me. Who touched me? He's trying to figure it out because he knows that somebody touched him. And his disciples are like, Jesus, are you kidding me? Like, there's this huge group of people. Like, everybody is touching you right now. Duh, everybody is touching you. It's like when you're in a mosh pit at a concert and you're like, woo! And then, like, people are all around you touching you, and then you realize that one person touched you. It's like that for him. But the reason why this is so symbolic is because Jesus says, daughter, your faith has made you well. And then he says, go in peace and be healed of your affliction. And when he says go in peace, he means go into peace, be healed, be made well, be totally clean. And so when Jesus is healing this woman, he's not just healing her of something that's happening to him or to her all her life. Like, he's not just healing her physically, he's healing her emotionally and spiritually and all the things that are going on inside of her. He's healing her at this deep heart root level. And so I want everybody to close their eyes right now. So this story is basically about the gospel. It's basically about salvation. It's basically about the fact that when you're unclean and you touch Jesus, you get made clean and you start living a whole new life. And so I want to challenge you guys. Think of somebody that you think that society thinks is unclean. Think about somebody in your dorm. Think about somebody maybe outside. Think of one of your friends that everybody is telling you they're not a good person, they're unclean, they're not worth hanging out with, they don't need this, they don't need your pity, all this stuff. And then think about what it would be like if they knew that they could be clean, if they knew that Christ could clean them. Okay, now open your eyes. This story is beautiful, guys. It's the story of salvation. And it's so good. And I just want to encourage you guys to go out and to go meet the people that are unclean. Go and tell the people that are unclean that there is good news, that you can be made clean. That you don't have to live the way that you have been. You don't have to be afraid of love or afraid of people touching you or this or that. You can be made clean. And so, you don't know, because somebody could be reaching out to touch the hem of his garment, and you don't even know. So you need to go find those people. So, in the end, I bet when we get to heaven, the wedding feast will look a lot more like the Indian period party than anything else that I've experienced. So that is my sermon. Thank you very much.